Well, howdy do, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 89. This is going to be our after show for the Mage episode, the Warlords of Doomnova. And our guests are here. We're going to take some questions from chat room. And hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
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 So my first question was, Komma, are you going to give away the secrets to how you have so many water elementals in front of your mage?
Trade secrets. Keep it that way.
Damn it! Can't even get you on the show to answer this. Damn it. Alrighty. So if chat room has questions, you can send them in chat or ask them on Twitter. The first question that came in, I noticed during this DT war, immediately after we went on the little break, said, ask Komma about killing Prismatic Crystal Kappa.
Yeah, so the story goes like this. You know, Prismatic Crystal has a fixed health bar, and it's something like 10.5 million health. Actually, I think it might scale with your gear. But Kill Rock gives you a really big damage buff, right? So you get the huge damage buff, you get the trinket, you get your ring, you get everything, you pop it all, and you can actually kill it within the 12 seconds. Which of course means a lot of damage to Kill Rock.
Right.
But yeah, it really shouldn't be happening. Liz, please fix. No,
I mean,
20 million?
You can't kill it anymore, though, right? Can you kill it?
You can. You can kill it right now, but you just need 20 stacks on Kill Rock.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal. It only works on one fight, and he's only like the 5th encounter, so is it a big deal or not? I don't know. It's still a little ridiculous, though, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit.
But it's just another testament to how ridiculous Arcane Mage Burst is. How the hell do you do... What was it? You need 12 seconds. Yeah, you need something like 800k DPS or so.
Yeah. Well, what's hey, all your additive bonuses and multiplicative shenanigan, tomfoolery in the ring meta. And,
yeah.
It's definitely a perfect storm. And I'm pretty sure out of all the mages, we'll probably only see a handful of them ever happen in the course of the instance. Or unless you're Turkey, of course, happens every pull, right? Turkey can kill every time, yeah.
Nope, I never go downstairs. Sad days.
Oh, so you can't even do it, so yeah.
It's funny. Some people say Prismatic Crystal should at least have the shatter effect when it dies, but it doesn't. It just vanishes. Not cool.
Do you feel that the Prismatic Crystal works as it is now, like, or should it be something a little different? Do you like the hit it does more damage and it explodes? Like, it radiates, basically, or should it do something a little different?
Do you guys want to say something about it? Because I have a big rant for this.
Oh god, well, we only have so much time.
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so the only spec out of the three that uses Prismatic Crystal exactly as it should be is Arcane. Prismatic Crystal came along as like this 10-second. The idea was sort of like a 10-second window of power. You know how like in old instances, maybe a Yeti boss charges you, misses, hits the door, and then takes bonus damage for a while? That's what Prismatic Crystal should be about. It should be like, I'm going to save up all my big spells and then throw the kitchen sink at him when he's finally vulnerable. That's what Prismatic Crystal should be about. Instead, the three specs use it in 3 different ways. Only Arcane still does that. Okay, I'm going to save everything, I'm going to save all my shit and then throw it at him. What happens to Fire? Fire uses it as a cleave battery. You like cleave ignite off of it, you combust it and like cleave it off. That's not how it's supposed to be used. Stuff like Living Bomb, Double Explosion, Last Wave hitting both of them, like that's converting cleave damage into single target damage. That's not very cool.
Right.
Frost is even worse. The only way Frost works with it, now Prismatic Crystal is balanced around Frost using the Splitting Ice Glyph. If you don't use the glyph, it doesn't work. Because it's a 10% damage increase, but you take like 1.5 seconds of your 12 landing the crystal. You don't even gain the time you spent placing the crystal if you don't cleave it. So have to absolutely place it on top of the boss so you can cleave it with Ice Lance, so you can cleave it with Frost Bomb, you can cleave all of those things, and that's the only way you would actually get a damage gain out of it. That's not cool. That's not window of opportunity. That's called summoning a target dummy so you can abuse mechanics just like a Warlock abused Soul Swap back in Siege of Orgrimmar.
As Kuni nods, that's...
Yeah, it's exactly how it is. I really hate it.
Gross. Fair enough. Let's see what else we got on here. Anything in chat that I missed? I'm just gonna grab some questions as we go through here. Vinny5 asks, do you think that making multi-strike crits count towards hot streaks would help make fire mages much more consistent?
Do you guys have an opinion, Turkey?
Nope.
I don't think it would. I mean, you're still relying on various crits happening in order. I mean, it might happen in one cast instead of two, but it's still kind of questionable. And then
the hot streak mechanic just seems really stupid. If I'm gonna be like really blunt, because it is literally you need a perfect storm.
Yeah.
I think it's all right ever since they made Inferno Blast do the 100% crit thing. So it used to be just spam spells until you get 2 in a row. That's stupid because then like
Sure.
Crit, uncrit, you never get one. They change it so okay, I crit, now I can react to it. That's okay. I don't think multi-strike crit would be good because fire doesn't need more pyroblast.
Yeah, it doesn't need more pyroblast.
It already does what 30-40% of your overall damage, more than that on multiple target fights. Pyroblast is why fire hyperscales, and if you want fire to continue getting nerfed to the ground because it always breaks at the end of an expansion, you give it more pyroblast. If you don't want that to happen, you make it more control. Don't give you 1,000,000 pyroblasts at the end of the expansion while giving you none at the start.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird question that Gimmick asked. Do you think that fire in particular, since it could use an overhaul, could benefit from having a higher skill ceiling? It seems like most of the mage specs have a very low skill ceiling and a heavy reliance on RNG. But Gimmick, that's the skill ceiling. To deal with RNG. That's what raises the skill ceiling. I didn't really bring that up during the main show, like this whole like what's a skill ceiling versus what's just dealing with RNG, but like they're kind of one and the same in some regard, and it's like really like as a mage, I'm sure it's pretty frustrating. This whole like feast famine between the specs, whereas like I guess Frost has like the least of it, but then Fire obviously has to do it to get it there, and then Arcane now anyway is just like this additive and multiplicative like stacking of like entrees on your plate, and then when your plate's too full, you're just like fuck this plate. So
yeah,
is that I mean I don't know how to. I've never played a mage, so I don't know how to really like explain this any better.
I think the only time RNG gets out of control is when Blizzard introduces dumb shit. That's exactly how it is. When Ignite breaks, we get crazy RNG. When they introduce stupid multiple stacking, like one pet proc gives you 500, 600k damage, that's stupid. If they stop doing that, then Arcane and Fire would just be normal RNG, and Frost would be steady, and Frost has always been steady. I feel it's okay. I don't think this has anything to do with a skill, though.
Yeah, I don't know, because what do you quantify as a skill cap, and what do you quantify as just like hitting the right button based on what lights up?
Say just like knowing when to use what abilities and how to react like on the move, pre-planning your movement, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But only Frost does the button light up press it thing, though. Fire has the most interesting cooldown in the entire game, if you ask me. It's not about pressing a button that makes you do more damage. It's about doing a bunch of damage and then capitalizing on that. And you need to build up and then suddenly spend it. It's pretty arbitrary. There is no other cooldown like it in the game. Arcane is interesting only because of this burn, conserve, mana control thing, and it's like, I guess Demo Warlocks sort of had the same sort of build resources, spend them in one go, and then reset kind of mechanism. But most of the other classes that do, button lights up, press it, proc comes up, use it, or take advantage of the proc duration. That's not the same deal. And these two factors already make me feel like Fire and Arcane have at least not worse, They have like a decent skill cap. They're not worse than other classes. Is how I feel. Is it harder than other classes? Probably not. I'm not gonna say we're harder to play than maybe like a sub rogue or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Well, it says what Gimmick brings up again too. I mean, he loves his mage, but I feel like I have very little control as to what I do to improve my DPS.
It's always the basics. Whenever someone says their DPS has trouble, it's always the basics about how many spells you cast and whether you're using the right things at the right time. I've never seen a parse where I looked at it and I thought, this guy is doing everything right, but his numbers are just not good because he missed a trick or whatever. No, that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. And Turkey was brought up earlier. What spec and talent would you use on Manaroth Progress with Class Trinket and Iskar Trinket? Throw that over to you, I guess.
Did they say a specific spec or just any?
Which spec should they use?
If you need imp damage, then I would say Arcane with Supernova and Arcane Orb. And if not, then I would play Frost with Unstable Magic and Thermal Void.
Just tunnel the boss, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Tunnel the boss or tunnel the Infernals. I should caveat that. As Infernals are priority before the boss dies. Ranged.
They're not that important on Mythic. They're only in the first phase, so you only have to kill, say, like 3, and then the other ones will just get gripped in and destroyed by warriors.
Could probably, most likely, be a heroic question, I assume. So yeah,
okay,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Speaking of the topic of what spec to play, we kind of talked about this in the intermission. A lot of players focus a whole lot on like what gear they have, what stats they have, and what they should play. That's not how it works at all. If you need a pure single target fight, you could be in complete crit-based fire gear and play arcane. You'd still do pretty good damage. If you need mass AoE, then you could be in frost multi-strike gear, go fire, and then just use those same spells, and you would still do pretty good damage. The differences between the specs, depending on the fight, is so much bigger than just what gear you have that it really doesn't matter. It's much more about just having the right kit to deal with the encounter. And I mean, this is pretty obvious because when you think about it, the best secondary and the worst secondary, with the exception of fire maybe, in most cases are only like 20-30% different. Having a gem is much more important than having the absolute right gem. So there's so much obsession over gearing perfectly, like arcane people talk about, haste, mastery. That 75 haste instead of mastery is not going to make a difference. It's so small.
Right. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Different from my point of view, though, as like a hybrid. It's very different in my frustrating moment where all I get to do is like tailor myself based on like a talent swap or two, which right now, Enhancer doesn't even have talent swaps. Like we move on like one level 100 talent between Fusion or Molten Vomit, and that's all we do. But as a mage, you have 3 specs to tailor yourself to an encounter. But yeah, I guess that makes sense that, you know, we went over all the stat stuff for the main show, that there isn't a huge gulf between the gearing possibilities within the two. Like, you're not going to be like an arcane mage with arcane mage gear and then go frost and then suddenly do like just shit damage.
Yeah, exactly.
That's at least good to know. You can amplify it and maximize your potential, but yeah.
That also feeds into a question we get a lot, which is, how do I gear for Arcane Frost? Well, the reason people ask this is because last year everyone was doing Arcane Fire, and you stack Mastery for both. So now they're like, what should I stack for both specs, Arcane and Frost? One wants Mastery, one doesn't want Mastery, and wants Multi-Strike instead. The answer is you don't. You just spec for one of them, and you'll do fine as the other. Just stack the stats for whatever you play the most. It's fine.
Sure. I mean, Kuni's sitting here, and he's been playing Frost since forever. So,
yep.
I mean...
And I mean, it's very, very rare that I've ever been, dead last. I'm usually top middle, unless there's been, like, Firelands, where it was actually pretty decent if you didn't have the Sinestro Trinket, and this tier, and Siege.
Right. Yeah, I guess it comes down to it as well, too, is if you are also, like, really good at the spec you're playing, changing to a different spec that you haven't had that much time on, you'd probably just be better at staying in the spec you played more on.
Yeah.
Because then you run into a point of like, you don't have the same muscle memory as you do with that spec. So you might miss certain things or miss certain procs opportunities, and then you're doing less damage than you would have if you're just playing another spec. So, yeah.
I mean, like, I can play Frost in my sleep, but I won't pull the same numbers as Arcane.
Right.
I just don't have the muscle memory to do it, right?
Sure. Exactly. Hilvian, we're not gonna like talk about super tinfoil hat stuff. It doesn't really do anything for these episodes. Asking about if you have a one dream talent for one spec, either replacing his SD1 or a new expansion. I mean, I'm sure everyone has thoughts to that, but that doesn't really do a lot. Let's see. That was a big ASCII that immediately got dunked.
Really?
That's fun. Yeah. He's trying again.
It is again. Yeah.
It's funny. How much DPS gap does the ring make? I have an alt mage, but worry she isn't viable without the ring. I don't really talk about ring meta. I don't know. I mean, do you guys have thoughts on ring meta a little bit?
Ring is overpowered for Arcane. That's pretty much the only main thing that's to be said.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much about the ring, and I wouldn't worry about not being quote-unquote viable with the ring. You can be viable without anything. I mean, Mythic Archimon has been killed without a ring, right? You won't be killing him without a ring yourself, but
Right.
you're definitely viable for most encounters, and by the time you get to him, you'll have your ring.
Right. Yep, that's true. I mean, no one in the world's gonna kill him without rings, so you can take him off, I guess. What are you gonna prove there to unnerf the content you're doing? Are you Midwinter's taking off their rings right now, Turkey? Right? They're trying to get that
definitely.
second world first 0 ring kill. Yeah. That's what I thought. Right? Exactly. I knew you guys had the gumption.
It'll be all over soon. Just watch for it.
Oh gosh, it better be. Damn it, we need more guilds to kill it before Saturday so we can talk about the fight with Method. Kill it, please.
And then our next kill will be like, world first, only 3 rings.
You're like stacked the ladder.
Every single ladder.
Oh no, please. Oh my goodness. Port, we talked a lot about that during the main show. We talked quite a bit about the Prophecy of Fear and its total wicked shenanigan nonsense. Oh yeah. So Teeth Mage was asking about the whole Dragon's Breath being thrown into the rotation since the super damage increase from the hotfix. Should it be thrown into single targets rotation too, or just AoE?
Single target.
Really?
That's exactly how stupid the buff was. They buffed it 150%. It was already like an okay spell when you glyphed it. Now it's hitting harder than Blast Wave if you glyph it.
Yo, Fire Mage for melee mage in 7-0.
Yeah, so you run into melee,
No.
you Dragon's Breath every 20 seconds if you could. But then again, you have to ask, why would you be playing fire on a single target fight again?
Right.
Because you want to.
If you want to.
Guess.
Yeah. Do you delay Prismatic Crystal for the Legendary Ring as Arcane? I would probably say yes.
Yeah.
1.5 minute cooldown. You can line it up for every single ring use.
We haven't done too much research on that because it's been bugged until like the last few days. But I think generally the consensus is just delay stuff for 2 minutes.
Very right. Archimus is asking about rotation with Archimon, Trinket for Frost, and Arcane, including Opener. Those are things you want to go to the Altered Time forums or IRC for. That's a little bit like frontal brain, a little bit too, because there's a lot of variance on that from a fight-to-fight basis. So you can go ask the IRC for that, Arc.
Another bit of a rant here. A lot of people have probably heard me already.
Okay.
What's with this obsession on openers? When like Archimon is a 10-minute fight, that's 600 seconds. Your opener is 10 seconds. You're obsessing about the damage you do in 1/60th of a fight. I don't care if you do 5 times your normal damage in that 1/60th of a fight. at the end of the fight, that's not what's going to make or break your numbers. The thing that really makes or break your numbers is what you do for the remainder, 59 parts out of that 60.
Yeah.
And sure, some fights, the opener does matter, like Blackhand, because the first 1.5 minutes is everything that, like, you need to push past phase 1, right?
Sure.
But most fights aren't that.
Right.
I think it just feels good for people to look at Skada after 15 seconds and be like, nice.
That's the weird propagation I've talked about on the show so often, that I think people get too wound up with numbers and not wound up enough with just killing the boss and handling the mechanics properly. Like, if you're on farm, you're 3 or 4 weeks onto farm, and you want to scumbag the logs, please, scumbag the logs and the fight's gonna die. Who cares? But if you're on progression, and you're trying to scumbag the logs, and you're not killing the fight, everything you're doing is worthless. Because you're not progressing. So progress first, pad lord later. Can I get a hashtag trending on Twitter for that? That's pretty quotable. I like it. That was like off the top of my head right there. So, but that's how it works though. That's how it should be. So, but babe, we as mages don't care shit about killing the boss. Well, that's wrong. And you should feel bad. So, another minute or two here. Let's see. So what if you discussed in the previous part already, but how satisfied do the players feel with the highly geared Arcane Mage playstyle compared to the Fire Mage tier 18 in general? Well, I mean, like, they don't play fire. So, they don't play
bonuses don't change how we play fire anyway.
Right.
And I mean, that's intentional. Arcane, the tier bonuses don't change our how we play either. Well, not much anyway. And the trinket does a little bit, but I don't really feel like it changes a whole lot. So it's still the same class. The tier 18 doesn't really change much about what buttons you press.
Yeah, I don't know. Lots of new people in chat that probably haven't heard that rant of mine before, but like literally it's a completely awful mindset to be in if you're just trying to do big numbers and you're not killing bosses. Like, you want to kill the boss first because you want to progress, right? It doesn't matter if you burst it doesn't matter if you kill your prismatic crystal on Killerog if you never kill Killerog. Who cares? Because you're not killing the boss. So you want to kill the bosses. So mindset shift should be to kill the bosses and do mechanics. Make sure brought that up in the show beforehand. It's like Turkey plays a very different type of mage where he works on helping his raid out a lot more with scumbagging mechanics to help them out and losing damage. But if you could see, he's killed lots of bosses, right? Turkey, lots of but one, right? You haven't killed the last one yet.
It's not all about you. It's about the raid and killing the boss.
Yep.
He's set.
Teamwork makes the dream work. That's how. I mean, seriously. Anything else? I think it's about time to get out of here. Oh, there was one that I saw. Dawn wants to know, is it worth doing another burn phase on Gorefiend after you evocate during Feast of Souls, or just let mana regen by itself? It's very specific.
No one's probably looked at it that much, but I would say no, because then you're screwed for all the constructs after the burn.
Yeah, that's a mythic POV, where killing the ads is actually a big problem.
Right. Yeah, ad management is much more important than damage on Gorefiend.
Like, if the boss is going to die in that feast, then sure, go for it, but yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Do arcane mages have a soft cap for haste?
Yes, but you don't really get there normally, unless you do something really crazy, like with a haste trinket with bloodlust plus Warsong enchant and stack haste. Then sure, maybe. Does it even matter? Probably not.
Yeah. Anything else you want to throw in there, Kuni? Anything? Or we're rolling music second time. I think it's second time for music, possibly.
No, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
The questions I've been asked, I've answered elsewhere. So.
Yeah, I see you've been answering stuff in chat. Yep, I appreciate that. Very awesome. Multifacets of the show. Of course, if you have any more questions, you can go to Altered Time and join the community over there by hitting the button, though. We're getting out of here. Thank you all for tuning in.
Icon.
What's up?
Come bug us on IRC.
Get a Doomnova chat icon, maybe?
Oh my goodness. Thank you all for tuning in. If you need to know anything about FinalBossTV, we're on YouTube, we're on Stitcher, we're on the website at FinalBoss.tv. Everything is right there for you. Around the table again, we had Komma coming in from Altered Time. You can go to altered-time.com, grab their IRC, jump on the forums. Thank you again, sir. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me on.
I think your rants were on point. Good stuff. I like it. Great. We had Turkey right over here. You can follow him on Twitter at TurkeyMW. You can give him like a timer if he doesn't get the Archimon kill by Thursday.
Oh,
you
no.
can all attack him on Twitter. That'd be really good. Blame Turkey. But thank you, sir. Good luck in there, man. I wanna get that kill done. I wanna watch different kill videos because the ones we've seen so far, everyone kind of have different talents or different specs for like the last couple of fights. So I can't wait to see what you guys figure out in there.
Should be soon.
Should be
Thanks
soon.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Check out Alter Time for sure if you're a mage. I think there's a lot of people who still don't really know about it, so...
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I've been saying it like every couple of minutes. We got there. Then you can go follow Kuni and ask him about Frost Mage stuff, or find him, of course, over at Alter Time at Kuni Zerkai. I'll be asking about beard tips, because I'm jealous.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. That was awesome having you on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's quite fun.
Of course, next week is 2 episodes back-to-back. We have the Square Table Chat with Kellerick, Novel, Bellular, myself, Preach, and Old Chat. That's on August 2nd at normal time at 4 p.m. Eastern. We also have the Method World First Mythic Hellfire Citadel interview with Sko, Roger Brown, and Suni. And the apparel art for that is coming soon. That's on Saturday, August the 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 hours earlier than normal. Be sure to tune into those. More information will come on that. I'll be plugging it all week on social media. Follow us on there for that. If you have questions for future episodes, please send them in now to the Ask a Boss button down below the stream. Have a great week. Have fun and trust in your seal of inevitable fate or inevitable gold, whatever you want to believe in. And until next week, everybody, see you in the YouTube comments, see you on Twitter, see you on Facebook, and bye! Bye. Wave bye at these people. Do the thing. There, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Bye.
I'm waiting. Just can't see you.
Oh, man.